I have reincarnated the once broken cultivation of the old demon, yet, I was besieged by countless righteous cultivators and my own wicked disciples. In desperation, I had to use a secret technique to abolish my sixth disciple's cultivation. Unexpectedly, I was also played by her. A triumphant expression appeared on sixth disciple Yi Tianxin's face. Unfortunately, Jinting Mountain will change hands today. Before Lu Zhou could speak, Xia Yuana retorted, "Nonsense, what about your cultivation base?" A hint of desolation flashed in Yi Tianxin's eyes upon hearing this. "Destroyed, little junior sister, this is the work of your respected master. He is old. How much longer can he protect you? Listen to me, if he goes on like this, he will push you all into the abyss sooner or later." Hearing this, Xia Yuana made a face at her. "I won't believe you. You are a traitor. Serves you right to have your cultivation base destroyed. Humph, look at him now, little junior sister. He's just like an ordinary old man. Trust me and slap him." Yi Tianxin seemed to sense something and started to instigate, but Xia Yuana directly snorted and refused. She wouldn't dare to do that. "Master, I've sent my father back to his residence with Whitesard. We can leave now." Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou waved his hand and summoned Whitesard over. Yi Tianxin was incredibly astonished after seeing this. This mount is actually legendary. When did the old man's mount change to Whitesard? Before she could figure it out, Lu Zhou mounted the creature and called Xia Yuana to join him. Meanwhile, inside Jinting Mountain, righteous cultivators were everywhere. They were searching every corner with weapons in hand. This is truly strange. Where could the Jinting Mountain demon have gone? Keep searching. Lord Elder said we must find Ji Tiandao and Ming Xian today. In the evil sky pavilion at the top of the mountain, righteous sect elder Fang Jinshan was sitting up high. He furrowed his brows and spoke. "Duan Musheng, as long as you tell me the old villain's whereabouts, I'll spare your life." The trapped Duan Musheng dismissively replied. "Fang Jinshan, you profess to be a righteous cultivator, but you take advantage of my precarious situation. If you have guts, release me and we will fight 300 rounds fairly. I can't believe you are still so arrogant when wounded. Do you think you are qualified to fight me? Even the old villain had to hide in some hole like a rat when I got here, not to mention you." Duan Musheng sneered after hearing this. "Even your brother has to bow his head respectfully when he sees me." Before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by a whistling attack. In his weakened state, he could only cross his arms and forcefully withstand the attack. "Who do you think you are? To me, you are just a dog without its master. Tell me the whereabouts of the old villain and Ming Xian. Otherwise, this day next year will be your death memorial." Hearing this, Duan Musheng still showed no fear. "Just try it." Arrogant Fang Jinshan snorted coldly and was about to take action. He wanted to take the opportunity to kill Duan Musheng for his brother's revenge. The other fellow disciples immediately stopped him. "This demon must not be killed. Our targets are the evil sky pavilion and the old villain. Lord Sect Leader said that he wants them alive. Please think twice, Elder Fang. Revenge is a dish best served cold." Hearing this, Fang Jinshan had no choice but to give up. "You won't be happy for too long. Since the sect leader doesn't let me kill you, fine. Surely you haven't tasted the feeling of being imprisoned in a dungeon with no hope of seeing tomorrow's sunlight, have you?" At this moment, a cultivator flew in on a sword outside the door. Seeing this, Fang Jinshan spoke up. "Elder Zhou Jifeng, it's good that you have come now. Have you found out where Ming Xian is?" Upon hearing this, Zhou Jifeng bowed with his hands clasped. "Second Elder, I have ordered the whole mountain to be searched, yet nothing has been found so far." "Nothing? You and I saw with our own eyes that Ming Xian was severely wounded. I don't believe he can escape too far away with his injuries. I want you to find him." "I almost forgot. The old villain killed Luo Chanfeng, the sect leader of the Heavenly Sword sect and also your respected teacher." Zhou Jifeng replied with a blank expression. "With Second Elder around, they can't escape. Although you come from the Heavenly Sword sect, you are very obedient. You are more sensible than them. Now I order you to interrogate Duan Musheng with torture." Upon hearing this, Zhou Jifeng hesitated. Seeing this, Fang Jinshan changed his tone. "No wonder Heavenly Sword sect doesn't want you. You're just a dog who has lost its master. I don't know what sect leader sees in you and why he made you an elder. Get out of here." He pushed Zhou Jifeng aside and suddenly kicked Duan Musheng with great force. With a loud bang, Duan Musheng couldn't help but step back a few steps. "Do you still dare to resist?" A cold glint flashed in Fang Jinshan's eyes. Then he gathered his energy, preparing to strike again. But at this moment, a golden light appeared in midair in the blink of an eye. The cultivators on the ground looked sideways and were overjoyed. "It's a legendary mount. An almighty expert is here. Inform the elders. It should be a righteous expert who comes to support us." But the next second, Lu Zhou's cold snort echoed around. "Who gave you the audacity to intrude into my Jinting Mountain?" With Lu Zhou's loud shout, rolling sound waves instantly spread across the entire mountain. The righteous cultivators below all stopped and began to watch. This deep voice, I guess the owner of the voice is an old man, but based on the energy contained in the voice, it's unlikely to be an expert. Legendary mounts are rare, let alone one that came with an auspicious aura. Who is the speaker? Just as everyone was speculating, Duan Musheng, who was trapped, recognized his master's voice right away. "Welcome back, master." Upon hearing this, the righteous cultivators were all shaken. "Not good, the old villain has actually returned. Don't panic." According to internal intelligence, the old villain is long at the end of his tether. He has relied on the secret drug of Primal Fiend. "Form the array. I want all Divine Court experts and above to assemble right now." Lu Zhou glanced down and found that, as Yi Tianxin had said, Jinting Mountain was invaded by a group of ignorant cultivators. A smug smile appeared on Yi Tianxin's lips. All this way, enduring the torment of the pain from a shattered Qi and Dantian, she could no longer speak, but she managed to hold on until now, just to see how the old villain would handle this situation. Indeed, this was a difficult problem for Lu Zhou. To deal with this situation, I have two options. The first one is to use the last peak form experience card. However, it's the biggest trump card, and I would have no other methods to protect myself after using it. The second option is to flee Jinting Court Mountain with Wizard. After all, Duan Musheng and Ming Shirin are villainous disciples, so I can just let them die. Should I use the last peak form experience card or flee? He struggled with the decision. "Let me go. You have no more trump cards." Yi Tianxin saw her master's predicament and spoke up. Xia Yuan snorted coldly after hearing this. In your dreams, the righteous cultivators below had already gathered, staring intently at the old man on the mount as if facing a formidable enemy. When Lu Zhou looked at the people in the front, his face showed a puzzled expression, because he found that Zhou Jifeng's loyalty had actually increased to 15%, 5% more than when he left the Heavenly Sword sect. Fang Jinshan spoke confidently and coldly. "I thought some formidable foes are here, but it turns out to be the old villain of Jinting Court Mountain. Duan Musheng has been captured by me, and Ming Shirin is seriously wounded by us. Golden Court Mountain belongs to the righteous sect now. Come down now to face your death." The cultivators behind him were outraged upon hearing this, and shouted in unison, demanding him to come down and face his death. Seeing this scene, Lu Zhou frowned slightly. What a difficult situation. He couldn't even save the last peak form experience card. So be it. After pondering, he no longer hesitated. But suddenly, there was a loud bang. Zhou Jifeng instantly drew his sword and stabbed at Fang Jinshan in front of him. At this moment, an invisible barrier appeared around Fang Jinshan, protecting him. Fang Jinshan turned his head, his eyes wide with anger. "Why did you do this to me?" Failing to achieve his goal, Zhou Jifeng quickly retreated. "I didn't expect you to be able to block my attack." He was very confident in this strike. At such a distance, even a nascent divinity tribulation realm expert might not be able to block it. Fang Jinshan sneered upon hearing this. "Didn't anyone tell you that there's a huge gap between a cultivator with a heaven-grade weapon and one without? Why do you think sect leader only sends me, a divine court cultivator, to Jinting Court Mountain?" Xia Yuan was getting restless. "Master, they make me so angry. I can't believe a group of mere divine court cultivators can be so wanton." Lu Zhou shook his head upon seeing this. "The shield of the dragon heart. I don't think it can be considered a heaven-grade treasure." Fang Jinshan was taken aback after hearing this. "How do you know it is the shield of the dragon heart? What's so strange about it? You were still playing with mud when my master held sway over the world." This is indeed the truth. When Ji Tiandao was famous all over the world, none of the people present were even born. Lu Zhou looked down and spoke calmly. "I'm giving you all a chance to live. Put down the weapons in your hands, fix the damage you have done to Jinting Court Mountain, and serve me on the mountain for 3 years. If you agree, I can forget everything you have done today." As soon as his words fell, the people below burst into laughter. "Haha, I seem to have heard the funniest joke in the world. The old villain finally gave up evil and returned to good. Instead of killing people, he now wanted to let people live, and all they had to do was fix Jinting Court Mountain and serve him for 3 years? Isn't this funny?" Seeing this scene, Lu Zhou sighed helplessly. "I had offered you the chance. Since you don't cherish it, you might as well stay here forever." He then leaped off his mount. Yi Tianxin had wanted to witness her master's embarrassing escape, but the next second, she stared wide-eyed in disbelief. The moment Lu Zhou used the peak form experience card, an overwhelming surge of muster energy erupted once again. The 9-leaf 100 Tribulations Insight Avatar appeared in the blink of an eye, casting an immense shadow and exerting tremendous pressure on Jinting Mountain. Yi Tianxin was dumbstruck on the spot. At this moment, she understood. Her guess had been wrong all along. She then fainted from anger and shock. The righteous cultivators below were similarly stunned, cold sweat pouring down. Why was his first move an ultimate skill? Shouldn't we go through a few normal skills before using that? Duan Musheng's face was filled with joy, his excitement evident. His loyalty increased by 5%. Zhou Jifeng prostrated on the ground, bowed, and exclaimed, "Old Senior is the mightiest man in the world." Lu Zhou did not save this experience card. On the day he became Ji Tiandao, his choice was predetermined. He was destined to follow this path. In this treacherous cultivation world, where people are devoured everywhere, only Jinting Mountain is the foundation, and cannot be tainted by others. So the last peak form experience card had to be used, to warn the world, to warn those who covet Jinting Mountain. I rely not on secret drugs, but on my own strength. Only true personal strength can be unleashed continuously. No secret drug or external force in this world can achieve that. Lu Zhou landed and looked down at the crowd, calling out Duan Muxing's name. Hearing this, Duan Muxing quickly responded. The final part of the Divine One technique includes a sword technique and a spear technique. I will demonstrate them to you now, but only once. Watch carefully. As Lu Zhou spoke, he condensed a dazzling long sword between his index and middle fingers. Duan Muxing was overjoyed. He joined the sect very early, but his progress was slower than other disciples. Although Ji Tiandao had taught him the complete Divine One technique, he had failed to master the final part. Even after cultivating it for years, he had been studying it by himself, which was no different from walking in total darkness, resulting in slow progress. Use your fingers to condense energy into a sword. Imperfect heaven's favor. Target Fang Jinshan. As the words fell, Lu Zhou just gently pointed. A sword aura formed by muster energy blasted out. Fang Jinshan's face changed dramatically. He hurriedly took out his own weapon to block. With a loud bang, dazzling sparks filled the center of the battlefield. The surrounding righteous cultivators closed their eyes, unable to look directly. It's the shield of the dragon heart. Can you see it? I can't see, I guessed. Lu Zhou didn't choose to kill the opponent with one move. He swung his arm and began to gather strength again. Fang Jinshan, who thought he was doomed, found his mind went blank. He surprisingly didn't die. Use your palm as the base and condense your energy. This is the result when a Divine One technique is used in the form of a spear technique. It's a ranged attack. After Lu Zhou spoke, it seemed like he was driving thunder and lightning. A long spear appeared in his hand. Seeing this scene, everyone's faces changed dramatically. It overlapped a stream of energy into 1,000 waves, which were then thrust out like 1,000 spears. It was also a key ultimate move of the Divine One technique. You know? I guess I know it. Not good. Run. It's too terrifying. Even a nascent Divinity Tribulation Realm powerhouse wouldn't dare to take this move. Realizing the danger, everyone ran like dogs of a bereaved family. Lu Zhou swung the long spear towards Fang Jinshan's position. Thousands of spear shadows fell like thunder and lightning. Nearby cultivators were affected by the shockwaves. All of them screamed in pain. Shou Jifeng also retreated dozens of meters, barely blocking it with his protective aura. So strong, it was impossible to see whether Fang Jinshan was alive or dead. A moment later, the dust in the sky gradually dispersed. Only a deep abyss-like pit was left where the spear shadows had fallen. Shou Jifeng was a bit dazed by the sight. It seems that the reason he continued to attack was either to vent his anger or to guide his disciple. After 2 strikes, only 3 minutes have passed. Lu Zhou's face was calm. He spoke softly. Did you watch them clearly? Hearing this, Duan Muxing knelt down with a thud. He cowed out heavily. Yes, thank you, Master. It is better to watch Master demonstrate the techniques than to practice alone for 10 years. Very good. Lu Zhou agreed, then lightly tapped his feet to fly into the sky, heading straight for the array of Jinting Mountain's defensive formation. Xia Yuan below looked up curiously, wondering what her master wanted to do. At this moment, the righteous cultivators scattered like birds. Who would dare to stay here? As long as everyone runs separately, he would not be able to catch us all. After all, he did not have 3 heads and 6 arms, and he can't clone himself. It's the perfect strategy we had thought of when we came, sacrificing a few people to save the lives of the majority. If we can't defeat it, then run. Lu Zhou snorted coldly. Of course, he knew their thoughts. I've said that you all have to stay here, and that means none of you can run away from me. Having said that, he instantly exerted his strength, injecting all the muster energy from his dantian into the array. Duan Muxing, seeing this scene, was dumbfounded in place, unable to believe it. Is Master trying to repair the barrier? How is that possible? The shield of Jinting Court Mountain was constructed by generations of senior experts. It absorbed a great amount of energy and worked in conjunction with weather and geographical position. Previously, when me, 4th, and 5th were fixing it, it had taken at least 3 years to complete the work. Moreover, it would take at least 10 years for one person to repair the shield. Master is old. Shouldn't he be conserving his strength? Why would he do that? As a huge amount of energy was injected into the array, a transparent barrier suddenly enveloped Jinting Mountain. Those cultivators who were escaping in all directions were blocked by the barrier. Shou Jifeng's eyes also widened in shock. His astonishment was beyond words. Previously, when I led other cultivators to destroy the shield, it had used all my strength, and yet it just would not budge. I never thought Ji Tiandao could fix it alone. At this moment, Lu Zhou coldly stared down. The peak form experience card is simply a bug. Unlimited energy, it's simply inexhaustible. If it were not for the time limit, this card would be truly invincible. With it, there's no longer a need to improve the cultivation base. All you need is the peak form experience card. I had lost count of how many times I've emptied my Dantian because it would be instantly refilled whenever that happened. In game terms, that's ultimate power. After receiving Master's order, Xia Yuaner responded and rushed out. Her 7-star cloud gathering steps was executed to the extreme. Brahma Sea Realm cultivators who hadn't escaped far were practically killed in an instant. Screams echoed one after another in the sky. Master, Duan Mushing respectfully bowed with his hands clasped. After hearing this, Lu Zhou glanced at him. Loyalty has reached 80%. His injury should be from his battle with Dudafang of the Righteous Sect. It was amazing that he could bear it for so long. Of course, it was also because of Ji Tiandao's torture in the past that he had become so tough today. An ordinary cultivator would have collapsed to the ground by now. Lu Zhou then asked about the whereabouts of Old Four. Upon hearing this, Duan Mushing hurriedly answered. Fourth junior brother fought a fierce battle with Fang Jinshan and others, but he was outnumbered and eventually fled after they wounded him. As for where he is now, I don't know either. Just as he finished speaking, Whitesword slowly descended. Then he placed the severely injured and unconscious Yi Tianxin back in the courtyard. Upon hearing Duan Mushing's words, Lu Zhou couldn't help but frown. This is good. The third, the fourth, and the sixth, all wounded. They are all wounded except for little Yuaner, who was killing the cultivators like an unscrupulous wolf. As he pondered, Zhou Jifeng came forward and knelt down. I wish to join Jinting Mountain and serve you. Lu Zhou heard this and didn't refuse him. With a wave of his arm, he spoke indifferently. Go and help Xia Yuaner. Understood. Zhou Jifeng was overjoyed and immediately took out his weapon, rushing toward the escaping cultivators at the foot of the mountain. At this moment, the time for the peak form experience card had just ended. The majestic muster energy in Lu Zhou's body receded like a tide. He entered the secret chamber with a sullen expression. His current cultivation was only at the sense condensing realm. Merit points, 6,674. Remaining lifespan, 5,506 days. Now he needed to clear his thoughts and reorganize his trump cards. The last peak form experience card was gone, leaving only 7 fatal block chances. If he encounters a powerful enemy, they could attack 10 or even 100 times in the blink of an eye. So the significance of having 7 chances isn't that great. What to do without a trump card? The number 1 demon of Jinting Mountain. How many people are watching covetously? Fortunately, the barrier has been repaired. Even if a powerful enemy comes again, the barrier can hold for 10 days or half a month. Using the peak form experience card twice in a row, he deterred the righteous cultivators. They wouldn't dare to invade Jinting Mountain like this time again, even if they were fools. The more than 6,000 merit points were the harvest from the Anyang trip. With merit points in hand, the next step is to think about how to use them. Although constantly drawing lots can accumulate luck, what if he really has a streak of bad luck? Let's wait a bit. Wait for Xia Yuaner and Zhou Jifeng to clean up the remaining cultivators, and make plans after that. Then Lu Zhou began to wander around in the secret chamber. I haven't been in the secret chamber for a very long time. The ancient one-sword technique, the Tranquil spell, the Tao Heart Sutra. From what I know, they were not practiced by any of my disciples. There are also some weapons. Most of them are just Mystic Grade and Yellow Grade, which are very inferior weapons in the eyes of nascent divinity tribulation cultivators. It's all covered in a thick layer of dust. I don't remember where they came from or how to use them. At the same time, the seriously injured Yi Tianxin slowly opened her eyes, looking at the familiar surrounding buildings. The scene of her joining the sect appeared in her mind. She still remembered everything here clearly. Every tree, every wall, every pattern. At this moment, the voice of Ming Shirin came from behind. Yi Tianxin looked over, only to see Ming Shirin leaning against a tree, disheveled. Not only was his face covered in dirt, there was also a bloody wound on his chest. Junior sister, it's right to come back, he said while collapsing onto the ground. Yi Tianxin was stunned for a moment. Is this still the 4th senior brother whom the world feared? Even flies are bullying him right now. Is this Ming Shirin, a Tao transforming divine court expert? After recovering, she gave a wry smile. You also have today. Ming Shirin waved his hand and replied, I'm just tired. Hearing this, Yi Tianxin began to ridicule. That old thing left us on the mountain to die. I can't believe that you willingly stayed behind to work yourself to death for him. Are you crazy? You don't understand. I'm different from you. I still respect Master very much. After saying this, Ming Shirin closed his eyes and fell asleep. Then a miraculous scene appeared. Countless flowers grew around him at a visible speed. Seeing this, Yi Tianxin widened her eyes in disbelief. This is the Bluewood technique. Senior brother has actually mastered it all. When the Bluewood technique is cultivated to the extreme, it can bring one back from the dead and transform to give new life. At the same time, this means that the fourth senior brother will survive this tribulation and step into the nascent divinity tribulation realm. When did the old demon become so generous? Looking at the area covered by blue wood, Yi Tianxin stood in place, unable to comprehend. Then, the ninth disciple, Xia Yuaner, flew back into the courtyard. Where's my master, traitor? Upon hearing this, Yi Tianxin waved her hand, inviting her over. Can you tell me what the old thing has been doing all these years? Hearing this, Xia Yuaner crossed her arms and refused to acknowledge her. I'm not going over there. Afterward, the battle-worn Duan Mushing also arrived. Seeing his appearance, Yi Tianxin couldn't help but smile teasingly. Yi Tianxin, you have deserted the sect, betrayed the master, and your treachery is hated by both man and heaven. How dare you laugh? Duan Mushing, who was straightforward in nature, didn't care about her feelings. Senior brother, at this point, don't act so self-righteous. Don't you know how the old thing treats us all? Look at how pathetic you are now. The old thing's days are numbered. I hope you can still be so righteous. Shut up. Duan Mushing couldn't help but scold her angrily. Yuaner, master isn't here, so slap her for senior brother. Upon hearing this, Xia Yuaner walked over, closed her eyes, and casually slapped her before running back. With this slap, I hope you will remember that this is the evil Sky Pavilion, the very place where you learned all your skills from master. If you dare to insult again, don't blame senior brother for being merciless. As Duan Mushing spoke, a wave of sound rolled out, causing Yi Tianxin to cough up blood. With her cultivation wasted, she was just like an ordinary person and remained quiet for a while after being hit. Xia Yuaner initially wanted to help unlock the chains, but Duan Mushing helplessly shook his head. No need, the chain is made from cold iron that is over 1,000 years old. I'm afraid only eldest senior brother's Jasper Saber and second senior brother's Longevity Sword can cut through it. As soon as his words fell, Zhou Jifeng was seen nervously passing by. Stop! Xia Yuaner immediately shouted upon noticing him. Zhou Jifeng promptly bowed and greeted them. Greetings, seniors. You are a disciple of Heavenly Sword Sect, which is a famous righteous sect. Why do you want to join Jinting Mountain? Are you not afraid of being laughed at by the world? Hearing Duan Mushing's question, Zhou Jifeng hesitated for a moment before replying. What's the difference between good and evil? If I were afraid of being laughed at, I wouldn't be standing here. As he spoke, he knelt on the ground to show his determination. Now that I'm here, it means I've thought it over. Old senior, where are you? Please give this junior a chance to explain. Seeing this scene, Yi Tianxin couldn't help but laugh again. Crazy, you're crazy. So many people are eager to stay as far away from Jinting Mountain as possible, and yet you chose to join it. Are you so impatient to get yourself killed? Hearing this, Zhou Jifeng retorted righteously. Old senior has bestowed me with an act of kindness. Meanwhile, after all the righteous cultivators inside the evil Sky Pavilion were dealt with, Lu Zhou's merit points reached 7,540. However, looking at the mall panel, he couldn't help but frown. A mighty 4 quadrants avatar costs 2,000 merit points. Good weapons need a powerful cultivation base to support them, or else it's useless. A reversal card costs 500 merit points, and a critical block card costs 100 merit points. They are expensive and not worthy enough to be trump cards. An impeccable card? Impeccable card provides 10 seconds of damage immunity, 500 merit points. This card is not bad. It's almost like invincibility, but 10 seconds is too short. Deadly Strike card provides an unspeakable power to deliver a fatal blow to the target, 500 merit points. Lu Zhou flipped through and saw these 2 prop cards. He was somewhat puzzled. Unspeakable power, what does it mean? As an online game enthusiast in my previous life, I knew that if an item I got from killing a monster had the Deadly Strike ability, it usually had a very low chance of being triggered. However, this card did not have such a limitation. No matter what power it is, this card should not be bad based on the description. He continued to flip through. Top grade defense card. Reduce damage by 90% for 30 seconds. 500 merit points. Second grade defense card. Reduce damage by 60% for 30 seconds. 300 merit points. He checked more than 10 prop cards and found that they were all defensive types and not very useful. These cards were not as useful as the impeccable card. Soon, he realized something was wrong. Wait a moment, why are most of them defensive cards? Is the system trying to make me a coward? Does it want me to let others beat me like a punching bag without fighting back? He continued to scroll down, finding only a few prop cards with question marks. Even the detailed descriptions were not visible. It was probably like the high-level avatars, with hidden descriptions and prices, meaning they should be very powerful. After much deliberation, Lu Zhou finally chose 3, an impeccable card for 500 merit points and a deadly strike card that cost him 3,000 merit points. Looking at the 2 prop cards, Lu Zhou fell into deep thought again. What would happen if I attack an impeccable card with a deadly strike card? Lu Zhou hesitated at this point, looking at the remaining 4,000 plus merit points. Should I buy a few reversal cards to restore my lifespan? But the remaining merit points are only enough to buy 9 reversal cards and about 2,700 days of life. What about lucky draws? With the experience of the last round of lucky draws, it could swallow all my merit points and give me nothing if I am down on luck. Should I practice heaven writing instead? After all, improving my cultivation base is the key. Well, my cultivation base is indeed the root of everything. But before that, let me just try a few lucky draws. Meanwhile, Pingdu Mountain is located in the north of Yu Province, which is in the western part of Great Yin, the headquarters of the Nether sect. A subordinate came to the Nether Hall. My lord, I've found out everything. The Patriarch alone captured the Palace Master of the Derived Moon Palace. None of the Righteous Sect and Heavenly Sword Sect experts who invaded Jinting Mountain survived. After a moment of silence, a hoarse voice came from above. I see, my lord, the Palace Master of the Derived Moon Palace was your junior sister. Her assault of the Patriarch with the Righteous Cultivators failed miserably. The Yun Sect, Tian Sect, and Luo Sect are infuriated, and they swear to kill everyone in the Derived Moon Palace as a tribute to their dead disciples. Do you think we need to help her? As the voice fell, the air suddenly became quiet. It was a long time before Yu Zhenghai spoke slowly. She brought it upon herself. There's no need to intervene. Subordinate has another matter to report. The spy we planted in the Imperial household reported that Lady Jade plans to wipe out Jinting Mountain, and she even tried to convince the Emperor to mobilize the Imperial army. And then, Yu Zhenghai became interested immediately. The subordinate hesitated for a moment before continuing. The Emperor punished her by forbidding her from leaving her chamber for 3 months. Yu Zhenghai seemed to have anticipated this outcome. Great Yan is always at war, and the Imperial army is the force guarding the capital city. How can it be mobilized so easily? Lady Jade has shot herself in the foot this time, but she comes from the western regions and is not one of us after all. Keep a close eye on her. Sword Freak loves to challenge others. Since the Clarity sect has many experts, send him there and tell him to avoid the Sword Devil. Subordinate will follow the orders of the sect master. The subordinate respectfully left the place. At this time, outside the evil Sky Pavilion at Jinting Mountain, several disciples were anxiously waiting in the courtyard. Duan Mushing looked at the pacing Xia Yuaner with some helplessness. It's normal for Master to calm down and recuperate after the battle. Little junior sister, stop walking around. You make my head spin. Upon hearing this, Zhou Jifeng started to flatter. Old Senior's a mighty expert. He will be fine. Look at how bright this shield is. Yi Tianxin, with a cold expression, said teasingly, if I were you, I'd go inside and have a look. He is very old and anything might happen to him. Before she finished speaking, Lu Zhou's voice came from inside. Come in, all of you. Hearing this, everyone respectfully entered. At this moment, Lu Zhou was facing away from everyone, seemingly lost in thought. Master, Xia Yuaner called out softly again. Lu Zhou couldn't help but mumble in frustration. Why can't I draw even a single prize? Master, what are you talking about? Xia Yuaner asked in confusion. It's nothing, Lu Zhou replied quickly. Don't be angry, Master. I've killed all the invaders. If you're still not happy, I can go back and stab their bodies a few more times with my knife. Lu Zhou shook his head, indicating that it was unnecessary. Where's Old Four? He asked. Duan Mushing replied, Old Four is badly wounded, but it also brought him a rare opportunity. He is now protected by woods and cannot come to see you, Master. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou felt somewhat relieved. No one shall be near the woods for 7 days. It would take Ming Shirin 7 days to break through under the woods protection, and if the process was interrupted, he would never be able to step into the nascent divinity tribulation realm again. Yi Tianxin spoke out in resentment. You don't have to be a hypocrite. I'm pretty sure you'll sneak up on him in the middle of the night and give him a slap. Lu Zhou ignored her and ordered Xia Yuaner to confine her to the back mountain for reflection. Then, his gaze fell on Zhou Jifeng. Zhou Jifeng was startled for a moment before quickly kneeling and stating, Old Senior, I am willing to join Jinting Mountain. Please take me as your disciple. Lu Zhou paused before replying. I had not thought of taking a disciple since I traveled to this world. The old villain was at the peak of his cultivation base when he started taking in disciples. With my current cultivation base, it's difficult for me to be sure that I would not take in some ambitious and treacherous people as disciples. The bright moon shines over the sea. From far away we share this moment together. The old villain used to look for disciples. There was one last place to be filled. Why did the old villain not fill it? Well, it's no longer important. After contemplating, he tactfully refused. Your talent is not bad, but unfortunately, you have cultivated the sword technique of the Heavenly Sword sect. Switching to a different path halfway would only result in half the results with twice the effort. Old senior, Zhou Jifeng understood the meaning behind his words and wanted to plead again, but Lu Zhou handed him a secret manual. This is the Heavenly Sword sect's ancient one-sword technique. With your talent, you should have no difficulty mastering it. Upon hearing this, Zhou Jifeng held the manual in his hands, his eyes filled with excitement. The ancient one-sword technique had always been taught by the master to the disciples, level by level. Only when the disciples had learned the first level would the master teach the second level. Although Zhou Jifeng had almost completely mastered it, Luo Chanfeng never taught him all the sword techniques. This phenomenon not only existed in the Heavenly Sword sect but also in the other righteous sects in the world. This was regarded as a precious treasure by the Heavenly Sword sect, but in front of the old senior, it was like a worthless thing. With the sword technique, I don't have to worry that I would not reach the nascent divinity tribulation realm. I'm so excited. He quickly realized and kneeled down in devotion. Thank you, senior. Then Lu Zhou's reply came. Since you are not a disciple of the evil Sky Pavilion, you will address me as Pavilion Lord from now on. There are many accommodations in the evil Sky Pavilion. Apart from the East Pavilion and the South Pavilion, you can choose anywhere to stay. You may leave now. After Zhou Jifeng left, Duan Mushing asked with confusion, Master, Zhou Jifeng is after all a disciple of the Heavenly Sword sect. I have my own plans. Lu Zhou waved his hand to end the topic. He glanced at Duan Mushing's chains and slowly stood up to walk into the evil Sky Pavilion. Duan Mushing wanted to say something, but he heard his master muttering, luck should have turned. Seeing this, he could only sigh helplessly. He had wanted to ask his master to unlock the chains, but it seemed that he would have to wait. Xia Yuaner hurried back from the back mountain and saw Duan Mushing's worried face. She asked what was going on, and Duan Mushing replied, it's nothing. I just feel that Master seems to be a bit absent-minded. Absent-minded? Did Master give any instructions just now? Xia Yuaner asked curiously. No, he didn't, but he did say something. Master seems dizzy. Xia Yuaner understood a bit. Master is old after all. Riding the Whites back and forth and flying around in the sky. It's no wonder he would feel dizzy. Duan Mushing agreed. Senior brother, how should we deal with the traitor? Let's wait until Old Four passes this tribulation. Old Four is clever. If we don't punish the traitor, how can we face Master? Xia Yuaner then angrily said, I just don't understand why she betrayed our sect, but why did she want Master to die? Duan Mushing sighed helplessly. Yi Tianxin is also a miserable person. Miserable? Xia Yuaner felt something when she heard this and muttered, I'm miserable too. Duan Mushing was speechless. I'm going to heal my injuries. I'll leave this place to you. Meanwhile, inside the evil Sky Pavilion, Lu Zhou started drawing prizes again. He had used up 3,000 points and had 1,540 points left. His luck had accumulated to 60. Drawing more now would be too hurtful. Ding! This lucky draw costs 50 merit points. Thank you for trying. You have received 1 luck point. Fine. Lu Zhou could only pause helplessly. I'll read some heaven writing first and try to change my luck before continuing to draw. He scanned the characters he could understand and found that they hadn't increased. The parts he couldn't understand didn't seem to have decreased either. From this, he deduced that he needed to read the earlier parts of the heaven writing repeatedly and comprehend their meanings. The subsequent parts would gradually unfold. This meant that heaven writing could be comprehended, but the difficulty was relatively high. This discovery made him interested, so he immersed himself in comprehension and became engrossed. 3 days passed quickly. Zhou Jifeng continued his sword practice, while Duan Mushing began closed-door healing. Only Xia Yuaner was left idle every day. Suddenly, a creaking sound came from the ground. Confused, she immediately flew above the evil Sky Pavilion. There, she saw that the blue wood at Mingshi Yin's location had grown rapidly again, and its speed was increasing visibly. She was puzzled. Master said it will take 4th senior brother 7 days to transcend this tribulation. How can he be so fast? The wood has grown to almost the same height as the evil Sky Pavilion. The giant blue wood suddenly exploded with a loud boom, shaking the evil Sky Pavilion violently. Mingshi Yin's figure emerged from the center gradually. He stretched his arms and muttered, so comfortable. As soon as his words fell, a domineering aura of the nascent divinity tribulation realm spread out. Now that 4th disciple Mingshi Yin has broken through the realm, he's become a bit too full of himself. myself. As I was comprehending heaven writing, I was startled and immediately scolded out loud. "How dare you!" With Lu Zhou's loud shout, rolling sound waves immediately spread out from the outside of Evil Sky Pavilion. "Congratulations, fourth senior brother, on stepping into the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Did senior brother gain the 100 tribulations inside Avatar?" Xia Yuaner excitedly came forward to congratulate. Ming Shirin was secretly very pleased at this moment. "Before you all came back, I had already stayed in the earth for a long time, so I didn't need 7 days to break through. It feels so good to step into the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Now that I have an avatar, the world will soon be mine. Watch closely, little junior sister." As he said that, he called upon his muster energy, wanting to show off his 100 tribulations inside Avatar. But at that moment, Lu Zhou's angry shout reached his ears. Scared, he fell to the ground with a splash, frantically kneeling and admitting his mistake. Fourth senior brother, do you need to kneel to release your avatar?" Xia Yuaner curiously asked. Ming Shirin heard and awkwardly cleared his throat. Having just entered the nascent divinity tribulation realm, he was a bit unaccustomed. "Where's master?" Then, Xia Yuaner recounted the events of the past 2 days. Ming Shirin couldn't help but frown when he heard it. Sixth junior sister's cultivation base is destroyed and she is now locked up in the back of the mountain. "I'll go and have a look at her. Leave everything on the mountain to me. I need you to gather information at the station in Tanzi. Master will certainly ask about that when he comes out of seclusion." Yuaner was excited at the thought of going out to play. Fourth senior brother is so thoughtful. "I'll go right now." Ming Shirin turned his head to look in the direction of the Evil Sky Pavilion. Recalling the warning he had received earlier, he couldn't help but shiver. He thought that entering the nascent divinity tribulation realm would make things easier, but now it seemed that he was still far from it. Afterward, he lightly tapped his toes, taking 10-mile steps to reach the back mountain. He happened to see Zhou Jifeng practicing his sword. Little junior sister said, "You are a rare cultivation genius of the Heavenly Sword sect." Zhou Jifeng was somewhat flustered when he heard this. "Greetings, fourth senior brother." Ming Shirin then stretched his muscles and murmured, "Let's test my skills." 100 tribulations inside Avatar. As his words fell, an avatar that was 1 meter wide and 2 meter high materialized. Upon seeing this, Zhou Jifeng couldn't help but mutter, "Such a small 100 tribulations in sight." "What did you say?" Zhou Jifeng, frightened, quickly changed his tune. "So strong. Oops, dizzy." Ming Shirin was somewhat smug when he heard this. If the avatar of the nascent divinity tribulation realm is really so strong, so much so that it had made Zhou Jifeng faint before I could attack, a rare genius, you are mediocre at best. At this moment, inside the Evil Sky Pavilion, Lu Zhou had also finished his comprehension of heaven writing. In the past few days, it felt like he had experienced a great dream, refreshing his understanding of heaven writing. However, many of its meanings were still obscure and difficult to understand. He would need more time to study it further. Time to continue the lucky draw. Lu Zhou immediately opened the system interface. Ding! This lucky draw costs 50 merit points. Thank you for trying. You have received 1 luck point. Could it be that my drawing posture is wrong? With this thought, he stood up for consecutive draws, but it was still all thank you for your patronage. Luck points increased. It's really a ripoff. In fact, it had nothing to do with the drawing posture. Currently, he had 66 luck points. Will they bring me better luck? Women had a sixth sense while men had keen intuition. I must get something. Draw again. Ding! This lucky draw costs 50 merit points and 66 luck points. You have received 1 reversal card. Lu Zhou wanted to curse, but held back. I won't be angry. I can't lose my composure. With 1190 merit points left, let's try one more time. If it doesn't work, I'll give up. Ding! This lucky draw costs 50 merit points. You have received a weapon, unnamed. You have received a mount, buy-in. He actually got a weapon and a mount. As Lu Zhou shouted, golden light burst out from his hand. In an instant, a pitch-black object appeared in his hand. What the hell? He looked somewhat embarrassed. Able to change weapon form with thoughts at will. The stronger the cultivation level, the stronger the power. So that's how it is. What a good item. Lu Zhou immediately became interested. He began to excitedly play with it in his hand. This was a weapon that could change forms at will. 1 item was worth 10. It was a good deal. Let's test its power. Meanwhile, at the peak of reflections, Yi Tianxin sat there with a desolate expression. The next second, a figure appeared. Ming Shirin was overjoyed. Junior sister, do you want to see my 100 tribulation inside Avatar? Yi Tianxin was somewhat speechless. If the old man told you to kill me, just do it. Why do you have to show off? If you're going to kill or torment me, just do whatever you like. Upon hearing this, Ming Shirin awkwardly explained, that's not what I meant. Junior sister, if master wanted to kill you, he would have done it earlier. Why would he tell me to kill you? Then what did he tell you to come here for? I came here with my own will. Anyways, I can't just bear to watch you go astray. Go astray? The ones that went astray are you guys. After hearing this, Ming Shireen sighed helplessly. Are you still hating Master for that matter? Yi Tianqing turned her head upon hearing this. She seemed not to want to bring up the past again. I started earlier and suffered more than you. Have I said something before? Ming Shireen continued to console her. Pa, you were the one who cursed the most behind the Master. Ming Shireen's face flushed with embarrassment. That was then. This is now. Master has become really kind lately. Kind? Your joke isn't funny at all. I'm not joking. Master has lived a long life and gained great wisdom. His attitude now is very different from before. But what does that matter? Why can't you understand what I'm saying? Master hasn't taken any of our past actions to heart. Yi Tianqing hysterically responded. But I have. I can't rest until that old man is dead. Hearing this, Ming Shireen slapped her without using any muster energy, just an ordinary slap to the face. Yi Tianqing was stunned by the slap, but when she regained her composure, she stubbornly stared into Ming Shireen's eyes. Ming Shireen raised his hand to slap her again but ultimately stopped an inch away from her cheek. He shook his head and sighed, then patted her shoulder. You should ask Master about this in person. That's all I'll say. Take care of yourself. He turned and left, feeling there was no need to persuade her further. Just as he was about to leave, Yi Tianqing suddenly called out to him. Wait. Ming Shireen asked indifferently. What else do you want to say? Yi Tianqing's face showed a trace of loneliness. The disciples of the Yanyu Palace will definitely unite to save me. If possible, brother, please be merciful. Hearing this, Ming Shireen scoffed. You're still self-indulgent. Now that they're barely able to save themselves, how can they save you? The Cloud Sect, the Heavenly Sect, and the Luo Sect have all died. With this many Divine Court Realm cultivators, do you think they will unleash their anger on Master? You're wrong. The first one that they will annihilate is your Yanyu Palace. After being reminded by Ming Shireen, she suddenly realized the danger. At this moment, inside the evil Sky Pavilion, Lu Zhou was still playing with a black iron egg that could transform into any weapon. The sense-condensing realm was still lacking in control. In the case of insufficient cultivation, it felt like playing with a chicken feather as if it were a command arrow. After testing the transformed short sword against a long sword, he couldn't help but feel disappointed. Both weapons were completely undamaged. At this time, Xia Yuaner's voice came from outside the door. Master, Pan Zhong from Jingming Taoist School has requested an audience. Is this what I got with 0 luck points? It's really a piece of junk. Lu Zhou slowly walked out upon hearing this. As for Bayan, he would study it when he had time. However, he didn't know that after he left, the long sword he had tested began to show cracks like a mirror. Senior, Elder, seeing Lu Zhou come out, Pan Zhong and Murong Hai quickly knelt down to greet him. Xia Yuaner explained. Master, while I was at the post station gathering information, I happened to see the two of them kneeling outside the barrier, so I brought them along. Master won't be angry with me, right? Lu Zhou affectionately patted her head. You girl, just don't cause trouble. Then, he looked at the three of them. Stand up and speak. The two immediately complied. Pan Zhong was relatively composed, maintaining a calm expression. Murong Hai, on the other hand, was sweating profusely from fear. After exchanging a glance with Lu Zhou, he trembled and stumbled back onto his knees. Old Master, please spare me. It was my fault for not recognizing your greatness. Seeing this, Lu Zhou was somewhat speechless. I haven't even done anything to you, have I? I have been friendly towards you all along, and yet you are acting as if I've killed your whole family. With that thought, he sighed helplessly. Xia Yuaner, take him away. Before Murong Hai had a chance to say goodbye, he was kicked down the mountain by Xia Yuaner. Pan Zhong watched the scene, feeling fearful and uneasy. Lu Zhou then turned his gaze to Pan Zhong and asked, do you really want to join my Jingting Mountain? Upon hearing this, Pan Zhong did not hesitate to kneel and express his intentions. I voluntarily joined Jingting Mountain. Please, Senior. After listening, Lu Zhou pondered for a moment with his eyes closed. Although you have a bitter and cold physique, it is not a bad body constitution for learning the 3 Yin style. Under the heavens, everyone fears me. Those Taoists who are in the righteous path want to eliminate me. Even the disciples I have taught and trained want to turn their swords against me, disrespect their teacher, and destroy their ancestors. But as long as you are a disciple of the Jingting Mountain, I will definitely protect you. However, if one day, Lu Zhou paused, and Pan Zhong naturally understood what he meant. He immediately continued, if I were to have any intentions of betraying the sect, I will be subjected to 1,000 cuts and 10,000 slashes. Hearing this, Lu Zhou nodded with satisfaction. I always value promises. Stand up. At this time, Ming Shireen arrived, flying through the air. Master, your disciple has broken through to the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Hearing this, Pan Zhong was shocked beyond belief. Those who reached this realm were all formidable figures, and there were already several from Jingting Mountain alone. Lu Zhou looked at him and spoke indifferently. Entering the realm of the divine tribulation is equivalent to mastering 100 tribulations. The realm of spiritual enlightenment is vast and mysterious. One must not be proud and complacent. Ming Shirin obediently replied, "Disciple obeys your command. Isn't it said that the old devil of the Jingting Mountain kills without batting an eye and has a hot temper, especially cruel to his disciples? Upon meeting today, it seems to be completely different from the rumors. On the contrary, I feel that the old senior has the dignified demeanor of an elder and that of a teacher. Compared to those old-fashioned folks in the Jingming sect, this senior is much better." Ming Shirin then recounted what had happened earlier. "Master, I heard that the traitor Yi Tianxin is locked up in the Repentance Cave on the back of the mountain, so I wanted to go and teach her a lesson to relieve your anger a bit." Lu Zhou calmly replied, "No, let her reflect in the Repentance Cave." Also, regarding the kidnapping incident involving the CI family, Old 8 and Old 5 are both implicated. Ming Shirin's eyes lit up. "Disciple has just entered the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Master, I was thinking that I have nowhere to test my skills after entering the transcendent spiritual realm. How about I go and bring Old 8 back and make him listen to your orders?" At the same time, Zhu Honghong, who was roasting a suckling pig, sneezed inexplicably. Lu Zhou pondered for a moment and shook his head. "Leave him be. I'm tired." Dismissed. After Lu Zhou left, Ming Shirin winked at Pan Zhong, who was standing nearby. "Are you new here?" Upon hearing this, Pan Zhong hurriedly replied respectfully, "Greetings to 4th Senior. I like this title. By the way, do you want to see my 100 Tribulation Inside Avatar?" At this moment, Xia Yuan appeared, walking on air. Ming Shirin smiled smugly. "Little junior sister, you came just in time. Come and watch senior brother's 100 Tribulation Inside Avatar." Xia Yuan blinked her big eyes, looking very cute. "Senior brother, let's look at it again next time." A group of cultivators just appeared at the base of the mountain, and I suspect that someone wants to invade Jingting Mountain again. Upon hearing this, Ming Shirin was overjoyed. "That's great, junior sister. I'll go down first. This kind of trivial matter doesn't bother Master to do it. I can definitely kill them all by myself." He then vanished like a wisp of smoke, using his lightness skill. "Senior brother, those who came are all the female cultivators from the Yanyu Palace." Pan Zhong looked confused, not knowing what to do. Xia Yuan turned her head angrily and glanced at him. "What are you looking at? Keep staring, and I'll poke your eyes out." Ming Shirin couldn't wait to go down the mountain after learning that someone had invaded. He was really fed up. As soon as he arrived at the foot of the mountain, he laughed and unleashed his powerful 100 Tribulations Inside Avatar. With a loud shout, an avatar that was 1 meter wide and 2 meter high materialized. "Not good. Run!" The numerous female cultivators below were instantly thrown into chaos. "Something's not right. This 100 Tribulation Inside Avatar is quite small. It should be a cultivator at the early stages of the primordial spirit tribulation realm, and the demon ancestor's avatar is 10 times bigger. It isn't him. Besides, where are we supposed to escape to?" The female cultivators were discussing among themselves, somewhat at a loss. "Who dares to intrude on my Jingting Mountain?" Ming Shirin approached them and spoke coldly, but as soon as he finished speaking, he revealed a surprised expression. He saw that they had all knelt down in unison. Shouldn't they be talking trash? And if they refuse to surrender, I will wipe them out in a single attack. Why are they begging for mercy at the start? One of the female cultivators mustered the courage to speak up. "We are the disciples of the Yanyu Palace. Senior, please rescue us. Please save us." The others also pleaded for help from the senior. Ming Shirin furrowed his brows after hearing this. "This is embarrassing. They aren't intruders. They are the 6th Junior Sister's disciples." The 6th Junior Sister's cultivation was abolished by the master, and she was imprisoned in the Cave of Reflection. The Yanyu Palace is just a group without a leader. The 3 southern sects of the Yan do not want to collide. It's the Jingting Mountain, that's why they're targeting the Yanyu Palace. But the problem is, even if you beg for help, you won't be able to ask for help from the Jingting Mountain. He scanned the crowd, finding more than 100 female cultivators in a sorry state. Some had disheveled hair, while others were seriously injured and couldn't even stand steadily. Seeing this scene, Ming Shirin asked curiously. "The 6th Junior Sister tried to kill Master, so she was imprisoned. Logically speaking, everyone in the Yanyu Palace should be punished. Since you dare come to the Jingting Mountain, are you tired of living?" Upon hearing this, the female cultivators became even more anxious and continued to plead, "For the sake of the Palace Master, Senior, please help us." "No," Ming Shirin said, and turned around. intending to leave. What a joke. Whether you die or not is none of my business. Me not attacking you all is already me being generous. Just as he finished speaking, a strange sound of wind chimes reached his ears. Ming Shireen turned his head in confusion, only to see a large mass of black clouds slowly drifting towards them in the distance. It's the demon-slaying sect. The demon-slaying sect has arrived. The female cultivators below instantly turned pale with fear, all of them moving closer to the barrier. Please, senior, let us into Jinting Mountain. We will serve you as oxen or horses, at your complete disposal. Ming Shireen glanced at them and couldn't help but feel disappointed. Are these really the famous female cultivators of the Yenyu Palace under my 6th junior sister? Without a nascent divinity tribulation realm expert in charge, what's left of their divine court realm strength is nothing more than shrimp soldiers and crab generals. Shouldn't it be the 3 sects of Dian aiming for the Yenyu Palace? Why did the demon-slaying sect appear? This is outrageous. Seeing them shivering like this. Do they really think there's a place more terrifying than Jinting Mountain in this world? Are they afraid of the demon-slaying sect but not Jinting Mountain? In the blink of an eye, the dark shadows in the sky had already come close. It was only then that it became clear that what they saw were not black clouds, but rather a square formation made up of guards wearing black robes, protecting a massive dark dragon carriage in the center. Aboard the dragon carriage was Zhuxinchin, a powerful cultivator with an extremely high ranking on the Sinister list. The first on the Sinister list is Master, the second is the eldest senior brother, and Zhuxinchin ranks third. He is also the #1 expert under the command of the demon-slaying sect master. However, Ming Shireen was somewhat puzzled. The demon-slaying sect and the Jinting Mountain have always been on neutral terms. Why would they attack the Yenyu Palace? As he pondered, a divine court realm expert flew forward and, upon arrival, bowed with clasped hands. The demon-slaying sect has no intentions of attacking the Jinting Mountain. 4th Mister, can you hand over the female cultivators to the demon-slaying sect? Ming Shireen, feeling uninterested in the matter, turned around and walked back towards the barrier. Thank you, 4th Mister. We will surely visit you to express our gratitude another day. The black-robed man waved his arm, and in an instant, the surrounding cultivators swarmed towards the female cultivators like locusts. Wait, Ming Shireen stopped them at this point. I almost forgot my master's new teachings. Lately, he has been fond of treating people kindly. With this thought, he raised his hand and pushed all the female cultivators into the barrier. Thank you, 4th Mister, for saving us. The female cultivators immediately knelt down and thanked him in unison. The divine court realm black-robed man furrowed his brow upon seeing this. Escaping from the wolf's jaws and entering the lion's den, have these women gone mad? The 4th Mister has gone back on his word. I'm afraid that's not good, right? Meanwhile, Lu Zhou, who was resting in the evil sky pavilion, heard a prompt sound in his ear. Ding! You've gained 1450 merit points from devout worship. Then, Xia Yuaner recounted the course of events. After listening, Lu Zhou became somewhat enlightened. The female cultivators of Yenyu Palace are Yi Tianxin's subordinates. Yi Tianxin has been imprisoned, and what's left is nothing more than a group of scattered sand. They even dared to come to Jinting Mountain. Their courage is not ordinary. They're just a group of female cultivators, with the highest cultivation level being Divine Court Realm. It's so tiring to attend to everything personally when you're older. These days, the lottery has been making my head foggy, so I don't have time to deal with this trivial matter. It's better to think about the rules of the lottery. With this thought, he spoke indifferently. These small matters, you can handle them yourselves. Xia Yuaner happily ran out after responding. At this time, at the foot of Jinting Mountain, Ming Shireen sneered after hearing the other party's words. What? Are you unhappy? The Divine Court Realm powerhouse was obviously taken aback by these words. Before he could open his mouth, a voice came from the dark dragon carriage. Mr. Fourth, can I have a meeting with your esteemed master? This voice carried a strong sonic wave. It didn't sound powerful, but the muster energy within it could even cause trouble for a Brahma Sea Realm cultivator with all 8 meridians open. Ming Shireen crossed his arms and looked somewhat unconvinced. Do you think that my master is someone that just anyone can see casually like stray cats and dogs? The atmosphere became tense as soon as these words were spoken. The guards beside them watched the scene coldly, ready for battle. Take advantage of my good mood and disperse, Ming Shireen said, and then walked towards the barrier. However, the next second, a violent gale suddenly swept in. The female cultivators of Yenyu Palace inside the barrier were immediately suppressed and paralyzed on the ground. Mr. Fourth, do I have the qualifications to meet your esteemed master now? As the words fell, a four-leaf dark avatar gradually materialized. Ming Shirin saw this and frowned immediately. The dark incantation of the 100 Tribulation Inside avatar with 4 leaves opened and is about 5 meters tall. Such a strong opponent. Besides Master, only the first senior brother and second senior brother can take him on. But it is a pity that Jinting Mountain has long since lost its former glory. Then he asked coldly, "So you're a nascent divinity tribulation realm expert? If you came here to show off your martial prowess, I'm afraid you've come to the wrong place." "How dare I?" the figure said, and then retracted the avatar, leaped up, and jumped down. The guards behind him also slowly retreated a distance under his guidance. Demon Slayer sect Shuxinchan sincerely begs to have a meeting with the old senior. "I hope Mr. Fourth can help us this once. Is he trying to threaten and scare me?" Ming Shirin was about to shake his head and refuse when Ci Yuaner's figure arrived here. "Master has ordered." It turns out to be Miss Nine, who has been well known for quite a long time. Shuxinchan glanced at her and began to flatter her. Ci Yuaner burst into laughter upon hearing this. "Wow, has my reputation become so great? It's even more than that." Miss Nine entered Jinting Mountain at the age of 10. It took 10 days for you to profoundly enter a realm, 3 months for you to condense your cultivation, 2 years for opening all 8 meridians in the ancient sea realm, and entered the Divine Court realm in 3 years. Under the heaven, there may be no one who can match with Miss Nine's accomplishments. These words made Ci Yuaner quite pleased. "You are pretty good at talking," Master said. "He will see you in front of the hall." Ming Shirin felt speechless as he saw this scene. This is also considered an expert who opened the 4-leaf golden lotus, flattering others with a set of skills. At this time, in the evil sky pavilion, Lu Zhou was sitting at the top of the hall. Duan Musheng, Zhou Jifeng, and Pan Zhong were all standing by his side. He hadn't sat in this position for a long time, and it felt a bit cold and unfamiliar. Before long, Shuxinchan entered the hall with 4 subordinates. Shuxinchan of the Demon Slayer sect greets the old senior. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou glanced at him. "Take a seat." "Thank you." After sitting down, Shuxinchan looked around. "I really didn't dare to perceive the cultivation level of this powerful figure. Based on my intuition, the aura of this evil patriarch seemed a bit quite ordinary. However, in the world of cultivators, it is commonplace to hide one's cultivation, so it is not surprising. Also, the decoration around the hall, it's not extravagant nor majestic. It's just like an ordinary sect, and there's really nothing special about it. Speak. What's the matter?" Lu Zhou said indifferently. Upon hearing this, Shuxinchan bowed. The Demon Slayer sect has long heard of the great name of Jinting Mountain. Today, we came here to discuss 3 matters. First, Yinyu Palace has provoked the Demon Slayer sect more than 3 or 5 times recently. Now that Palace Master Yi has been captured by the old senior, it is only natural and justified, and she only has herself to blame for it. As for the other female cultivators from Yinyu Palace, I hope the old senior will hand them over to my Demon Slayer sect. Upon hearing this, Duan Musheng's eyes narrowed. Yinyu Palace was created by the traitor of Jinting Mountain. Even if they deserved punishment, it will not be your turn to have a say in this matter. Shuxinchan didn't argue, and maintained a respectful demeanor. What Mr. Third said makes sense. Second, under the entrustment of Jing Mingdao, Pan Zhong betrayed his sect, and the Demon Slayer sect can deal with him as we see fit because prior to this, Pan Zhong had already intended to join the Demon Slayer sect. These 3 slaves from lowly families are not worthy of standing in the Demon Sky Pavilion. As soon as the words fell, Pan Zhong's face changed dramatically. Duan Musheng was about to speak when Lu Zhou's voice came. "Continue. If the 3rd matter can be fulfilled, then the first 2 things can also be done as well. In the end, the Demon Slayer sect is just like the Jingting Mountain Demon Sky Pavilion. Both are hated by those so-called righteous sects. The top 10 experts have repeatedly sparred with the old senior, and their power not only did not diminish but instead increased significantly. If the Demon Sky Pavilion is willing to join hands with the Demon Slayer sect, there will be no rivals under the heaven." Hearing the tone of his words, Duan Musheng's temper couldn't be held back any longer, and he immediately started cursing. "Bullshit! Based on your lowly status in the demon-slaying sect, you are not qualified to converse with the Demon Sky Pavilion." Upon hearing this, everyone present was astonished. Facing Duan Musheng's angry rebuke, Shuxinchan didn't get angry. He continued to speak with a calm expression. "If I have offended you in any way, I hope that Mr. Third can forgive me." At this moment, Ming Shirin stepped forward. "Shuxinchan, let me tell you. Firstly, the owner of the Yinyu Palace is Yi Tianxin, and whether a dog bites or not depends on the owner. Don't you agree? The second point is that since Pan Zhong has entered Jingting Mountain, he is now considered a member of Jingting Mountain, and any past conflicts with the Demon Sky Pavilion will not be pursued anymore. If you want to cause trouble for him, then you are causing trouble for the Demon Sky Pavilion. The third point and the most important one is that if you want to join hands with the Demon Sky Pavilion, I'm sorry, you are not qualified. Suishinchang shook his head and chuckled, disagreeing. If the Demon Sky Pavilion's power was at its peak, it's natural that the demon-slaying sect was not qualified. But times have changed. Demon Sky Pavilion has been declining, and even Senior G's profound cultivation cannot change the current situation. The demon-slaying sect is growing stronger, and it's obvious to the cultivation world. Moreover, having one more friend is always better than having one more enemy. After saying that, his gaze fell on Lu Zhou. The meaning was very clear. The opinions of others in the Evil Sky Pavilion didn't matter. He only cared about Lu Zhou's thoughts. Lu Zhou still had a calm expression. After a moment, he slowly spoke. You're right. Hearing this, C.I. Yuaner couldn't help but look back at him. Has Master become confused? What kind of arrogant demon-slaying sect member comes to Demon Sky Pavilion and speaks so recklessly, and yet the Master isn't even angry? Suishinchang quickly showed a joyful expression and bowed. It seems that Senior G has a deep understanding of righteousness. Lu Zhou paused for a moment and continued, do you know why I asked you to come up and meet me? Upon hearing this, Suishinchang tentatively answered, could it be that Senior G already guessed the purpose of my visit beforehand? Are you practicing demonic dhyana? The Bodhi tree is originally without a trunk. The bright mirror is also not a stand. This kind of demonic dhyana cultivation is rare in the world. It is said that only by practicing it alone can one achieve enlightenment after 100 tribulations. Hearing Lu Zhou's praise, Suishinchang felt a bit proud. Senior, you're too kind. Indeed, it's true. I have been practicing demonic dhyana for 100 years and was able to rank in the top 3 of the blacklist, relying on the hand seal of the demonic dhyana sect. Not bad. Not bad. Lu Zhou nodded in approval. This scene left the two disciples on the side somewhat bewildered. Suishinchang's words are full of insinuations and even suggest that the Demon Sky Pavilion is in a state of decline. Master, do you really not understand what he means? Moreover, you even praise him. Then, let me learn and experience it from you. Duan Mushing shouted and leaped into action. The hot-tempered man couldn't stand the other party's arrogant attitude. That's exactly what I was thinking. Suishinchang's eyes lit up. This was also an opportunity to show off their strength in the Evil Sky Pavilion. As the two of them took action, a sudden gust of wind rose in the arena. Neither of them was willing to back down from the collision. C.I. Yuaner looked a little nervous. She was afraid they would tear down the hall. Lu Zhou calmly said it was no problem. Let them fight. Pan Zhong and Zhou Jifeng, standing nearby, watched in amazement. This was a showdown between experts. The two had exquisite control over the wind. Whenever the wind was about to touch a building, it would automatically disappear. Duan Mushing's chain in his hand danced fiercely. Sparks flew as the wind collided, making for a spectacular scene. Suishinchang appeared as composed as ever. Mr. Third is injured and yet still has such powerful strength left. Admirable, truly admirable. Lu Zhou understood. Duan Mushing was just a little short of breaking through to the primordial spirit tribulation realm. After all these years, he was unable to break through under Ji Tiandao's suppression, so when he was facing off against Suishinchang, he would naturally be at a disadvantage. And on the other hand, Suishinchang appears to be very relaxed. The handprint is out. C.I. Yuaner pointed at the scene with a worried expression. In an instant, countless palm prints condensed around Suishinchang. They continuously slapped towards Duan Mushing. Duan Mushing had no choice but to keep blocking with his chain, but he was forced to continuously retreat, losing momentum. There was still a gap in their realms. Lu Zhou shook his head upon seeing this. Duan Mushing could be considered invincible below the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Not only was he resilient, but also very fierce. What a pity, but it doesn't matter. The path of cultivation is long. These disciples have extraordinary talents. Becoming a top expert is just a matter of time. I'll join. Ming Shirin saw this scene and leaped into the battlefield. Although his participation stabilized the situation a bit, Suishinchang remained undefeated against the two and grew stronger as the battle went on. So, Mr. Fourth is in the nascent soul tribulation realm. If that's the case, then I won't be polite anymore. Avatar, come forth. With a shout, a dark-colored avatar gradually materialized. In the blink of an eye, it filled the sky. The power of the nascent divinity tribulation realm was mainly in the avatar. 5 meters tall, it was enough to demolish the Evil Sky Pavilion. But strangely, the dark-colored avatar seemed like a phantom standing within the pavilion. Therefore, it can be seen that this person is not an ordinary strong one. The situation was immediately reversed as soon as the avatar appeared. A majestic pressure instantly swept towards the two who were fighting. Palm prints several times larger than before fell densely like a torrential rain. Upon seeing the situation, Ming Shirin hastily summoned his own avatar, which was 2 meters tall, to resist. However, the gap in strength was too great after all. A moment later, he felt his blood surging and his arm numb. Suishinchang, who was completely in control, smirked triumphantly. Everyone, will you join hands with the demon-slaying sect now? Upon hearing this, Duan Mushing shouted angrily, not a chance. Then he immediately leaped up and started fighting with Suishinshin again. Seeing this, Lu Zhou frowned slightly. Duan Mushing's temper was too explosive. He was usually quite calm in front of him and had the demeanor of an elder brother. Now he was just a reckless man. He directly used the chain to infuse muster energy, swinging it back and forth. Fortunately, the space was large enough, otherwise, 10 evil sky pavilions would not be enough for him to demolish. The gap in realms was obvious. Suishinshin intended to use Duan Mushing as practice, showing off his strength. However, this could also indirectly reveal the cultivation level of the disciples. On the other hand, it also allowed Lu Zhou to observe the strength of the second-in-command of the demon-slaying sect. So, Lu Zhou didn't stop them. Although he had repeatedly defeated righteous experts and demonstrated his powerful dominance, the righteous world always believed that Ji Tiandao would grow old one day. Even the most powerful cultivators would be useless without enough lifespan. In the cultivation world, no one has broken through this limitation so far. The demon-slaying sect is the most ambitious sect in the cultivation world, constantly growing their power by devouring other sects. In the past, the demon sect also had clashes with the ghost sect in secret, but both sides feared each other's strength and have never engaged in large-scale conflicts. But the visit to the Jingting Mountain is true, the desire to form an alliance is also true, and the display of strength is also true. The siege and suppression of the Yanyu Palace's female cultivators was just an excuse. However, does Lu Zhou need an alliance, or is the demon-slaying sect worthy? There are so many forces in the world, and it's not just the demon-slaying sect that wants to win over Jingting Mountain. In terms of status, qualifications, and strength, the demon-slaying sect doesn't rank at all. It's ridiculous to rely solely on the third place in the sinister list. Before long, Duan Mushing was knocked to the ground by Suishinshin. The gap in realms was becoming more and more apparent. He realized this himself. After all, the realm difference is not something that can be made up by being resilient. Ming Shirin, who had rested for a while, jumped back into the fray. At this point, Suishinshin was somewhat carried away. Even if the opponents took turns, he still didn't take them seriously. Binding seal, see through the nature of the mind clearly. Having said that, he clasped his hands together, forming a raging palm print. In an instant, it carried an unstoppable momentum and collided with Ming Shirin. Ming Shirin, at the nascent divinity tribulation realm, tried his best to resist but ultimately was no match and was thrown back to the ground. Upon seeing this, Yuaner showed a worried expression on her face. Suishinshin stood with his hands behind his back, looking down at the scene with an air of arrogance. Are the three gentlemen satisfied with this battle? You, with only a four-leaf avatar at the primordial spirit tribulation realm, have the nerve to show off? Ci Yuaner angrily retorted. Hearing this, Suishinshin replied indifferently, Mr. Third and Mr. Fourth are not ordinary cultivators. I was forced to use the binding seal out of helplessness. This move was indeed a bit like that of the strong bullying the weak. Please forgive me. If the first senior brother and second senior brother were to be here, don't say you have a four-leaf golden lotus. Even if you had a six-leaf golden lotus, you would still have to bow down. Ci Yuaner was furious at this point. However, everyone knew that these words were just for saving face, so Suishinshin didn't take it to heart. At this moment, Lu Zhou finally spoke. Suishinshin, that move of using the binding seal was quite good. Hearing this, Suishinshin became somewhat complacent. Thank you, Senior G, for the praise. I would like to ask Senior G to teach me a few moves. As soon as these words were spoken, the guards following behind were dumbfounded on the spot, incredulous. This seems to be not part of the plan. Even peak-level experts at the primordial spirit tribulation realm with 7 or 8-leaf golden lotus avatar would not dare to make such a request. What's the intention behind your action? Second sect leader. Lu Zhou's expression remained calm, and he didn't say anything. Suishinshin released a violent aura that surrounded his body, quite proud of himself. Elder Senior G can rest assured that my binding seal technique can definitely withstand powerful attacks. If I were to lose within 10 moves, I will let you do as you please. Hearing this, Lu Zhou snorted coldly and stood up. Although the Demon Sky Pavilion is no longer as powerful as before, it is still not a place for you rats to come and act recklessly. With that, he stretched out his arm. Between his fingers, a golden vortex slowly took shape, and then gradually enlarged, releasing a dazzling light. After using Fatal Blow, you will gain an indescribable power that deals a fatal blow to the target. Each use grants 500 points of merit. Suishinshin stared wide-eyed, his hairs involuntarily standing on end. This is the Great Fearless Seal. Now, he only felt as if a gigantic palm covered the sky and locked onto him. The guards behind him were frightened and stunned on the spot. Compared to the Great Fearless Seal, the binding seal was so insignificant. Suishinshin was terrified, his palms constantly flipping up and down. myriads of binding seals. With a loud shout, countless binding seals rushed towards the opponent in succession, but without any effect. All were swallowed up by the golden giant palm. Seeing this, he could only inflate his four-leaf avatar to the extreme for defense. The next second, a thunderous boom echoed through the sky. Under the impact, he was instantly knocked out of the evil sky pavilion, his fate unknown. At this moment, the scene was extremely quiet. Everyone was shocked by the sight, unable to add anything to it. What just happened? They didn't know. They only felt an indescribable power. I'm still alive. Where's the second sect leader? He seems to have been thrown out. Everyone came to their senses and hurriedly rushed outside. Master, let's go and take a look too. After everyone left, only Lu Zhou remained in the hall. He looked at his palm with some confusion. Is this what an indescribable power looks like? I didn't expect the released form to be the Great Fearless Seal, because I haven't really practiced Zen Buddhism before. In my memory, my understanding of the Dhyana handprints is only at a basic level. I am familiar with some basic handprints and moves, but I cannot say that I have practiced them. When I made my move that time, I already felt the immense power of that force. Judging from the feeling just now, the power was strong enough to instantly defeat Suixin Chang, just like the power surge from the peak experience card. Could it be that it grows stronger when facing stronger opponents? Unfortunately, I only used the prop card once, so the reference basis is insufficient. Indeed, it is indescribable.